Holy crap, another video? Something tangible? Actually, I have something shot for the trim. Still gotta edit it. But yeah, coming to this video, finally got off my ass and ordered these guys. Detroit Speed and Engineering Subframe connectors. Stay tuned. Enjoy the intro. It's been a bit, 100 days I think was the last time I posted a video on here about working on a car, so figured might as well get something tangible hopefully this week, and let's give a quick walk around the car, little update. Decided not to put trim around the windows on the passenger driver's side, fitted these to the car, the trim around the rear windshield, front windshield, fixed that little goof up there, and that's about it really. I haven't touched it. Ordered the front suspension parts for it from Pro Tour and F-Body, waiting for them to come in. Hopefully they'll be here in the next few weeks, and that's about it. Really been working on the house, working at work, and just trucking along. So alright, anyways, let's get started with this thing. So basically what they tell you to do is, let me get my big butt down here, is to line up your subframe. You can see there is a plumb bob there, and then it tells you from the front control arm bolt right there, drop it down and drop a plumb bob mark on the floor. Same thing on the other side, and you can square it up that way. This car, luckily, I actually ended up having get it pretty squared in there out of the gate. Ended up being 84 and 7/16, 84 inches and 7/16, something like that, from dot to dot, and it's pretty square in there. So alright, next thing coming up is I'm going to raise the car up higher because I'm a big fat dude with a big chest, bigger chest, and I need some room, and so the car needs to go up higher in the air. I was hoping to have the front suspension on to do the subframe connectors, but I don't feel like waiting. I don't feel like waiting. So I know I could do it this way because it does have the engine trans and it's got some weight on the inside. And yeah, all right, we put you on time lapse and let's get to it. See, the car is kind of level. It's something you don't have to do, but it's in the bubble. I mean, I probably could have brought it up just a hair more. I'm not too worried about it. It's literally probably like a 32nd of an inch out of level. All right, so it says here too, from the 4-inch pinch weld body rocker mark 6 and 7/8 inch sports. All right, 6 and 7/8. Take this guy out of the way. Don't need it. Oh. Me and my big bald head. All right, give me a few minutes. Let me figure this out. All right, that's what I did. It says 6 3/4 inch from this front pinch weld here over, then measure from 3 inches over to there. I mean, I'm just going to cut inside the lines and then grind to what I need, and then you connect the two with I have thin tape, so I use thin tape to connect the two sides, draw the lines. That's where you got to cut And then real quickly, I need to cut out the template for the back here for that curve. So that will be up next. Give me a minute there and I'll get to that. All right, now that I got the template in place, this is where it goes. It lines up against the torque box here, the forward edge, that little 90-degree, slides in the back, comes around, and it kind of matches up to where the fine line tape and the measurements go off the pinch weld for what they told you. So yeah, go up next, see if I can find some earplugs and cut this out. All right, so another day, time to get the cutting. Got everything laid out, showed you guys that in the previous clip. Put you down, get some earplugs in, get eye protection on, and get my grinder out, start cutting. That's coming up next. Alright, about a week later, finally get back on this guy. As you see, got it trimmed in there pretty good. Up along here, a little bit of a gap, but I can fill that pretty easily with the welder. It's the back side. Yeah, I screwed up measuring by literally 1/4 of an inch. 3/16 of an inch, we'll call it. What has happened was, the measurements they gave us was 6.5 up front, 6 3/4 towards the back on the frame rail. I measured from the inside edge. You're supposed to measure from the outside edge. And tape measure for the 1/16 of an inch, yeah, that moves back and forth. So I screwed up, gotta make some filler pieces in it, and that is what it is. But let's go underneath here real quick, and there you go. So far, that's where it's at. Jack in the back, keeping it in place. I mean, inside, there we go. That's more gooder. And then the pieces up here, what did I do with them? Anyways, there it is. They kind of slide up in there like that, the tabs that weld to the frame. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a strap that goes from here to about to where the edge of this is on there, and then I'm going to weld this guy onto there and then put a couple 1/2-inch bolts through it so I can take the subframe out when I want to. That way it's at least still get tied in to the frame rail subframe connector, and then also to the subframe itself. So alright, what I'm going to do now is going to take this guy out, weld the cap on with a TIG welder, put it back in, and then figure out where these guys need to land, weld those on after this cools off, and then weld this side in. Do one side at a time so it doesn't pop apart on me. So alright, let me take this guy out, weld the cap on, and that's coming up next. Alright, guys, just saw me weld that up, grind it down, and for you canine people, I grabbed the wrong rod, and I used a silicone bronze rod on one of the welds there. Ain't gonna hurt anything, and it's welded in there, flew it out, wetted out pretty good, and there you go. Next thing's coming up, put these guys on. I need to put the connector back into the car, but I think I already need to just make a quick little notch on the plate there, like because I already did on this one, to match the frame. So we notch that real quick, break out the MIG welder, tack that guy in, and then bring it back up on here, TIG weld it all the way around, fill these in with the MIG, grind them flat, and then take some of my 1/4-inch plate steel there, make the external straps to put onto the subframe itself, drill some holes. Yeah, got a little bit more work to do. All right, let's keep going. Alright, after a little bit of cleaning up, that ain't the best TIG welder, but there you go. Still a little warm, but alright. Next thing coming up, put it in the car, and then to make the straps to go across the subframe to these guys. And then lay out probably I was going to do 3 holes. I just might do 2. One here, and then in between the 2. So yeah, that's probably going to end up doing is 2 bolts. This will be more than enough for what I'm trying to do. And worst case scenario, if it's not strong enough, I can always reach up inside with inside the subframe connector there, and the subframe itself, and just MIG weld up on top there if I really wanted to. So yeah, coming up next, putting this back in, and then making the straps. Alright, so there we go. That's what I was talking about when we put a strap. It goes from subframe here, right back over to here, a couple bolts, and weld it to the subframe. So that way this I can take the subframe on and off as I wish. But for you people out there who are going to weld it on, this is how it should look right here. It's got like maybe a 64th, 32nd mismatch. That's actually what's called on both sides. So I know the subframe in there is nice and centered, and that's about how, there we go, from the pinch weld area, that's how low it actually goes below the car. That's why I picked these, because, well, yeah, it's a lot of work. Probably like one of the hardest ones to put in there, but so be it. It is what it is. I'm not afraid of a little bit of work. So yeah, come next, we'll be measuring this guy. Ooh, bottle jack. So it's 5. This side will be a foot. So we get about 7 inches over to here and a couple of inches over there. And then on the inside, got my big butt up in here. I can't go as far because the subframe itself has a little bump there, but if I really wanted to, I probably could bend it. Then this side's going to be, I'll call that 9 inches. Yeah. So a foot on the outside, 9 inches on the inside, and that way, like I said, take the subframe off whenever I want. All right, it's another day. Time to get back to work. So went ahead and cleaned up a piece of strap steel I bought with my Eastwood's surface conditioning tool and the black wheels, the 40 grit disc, or 40 grit wheel. Cleaned that up whenever it's 120 grit, and cleaned up my little shitty welding bench from Hobart Freight. Anyways, I think I said the other day I was going to do 12 inches and 9. I think I'm just do 10 and 9, just because. So alright, I'm going to lay that out, cut that, and then round over the edges so that it matches the little extensions that go onto the subframe connector. I'm going to match that. Clamp up the place, and then pull it, see if I can pull it down one piece, lay out the holes for the 1/2 inch bolts, pop them through, drill them to size, put it back up in there, clean off the subframe because there's some undercoating on it from somebody putting it on at some point in the car's life. And then put a couple heavy tacks onto the subframe, and then yeah, that will be coming up next when we get back to work. Alright, as usual, I thought I hit the record button while I was doing this, but because I didn't, good thing I have the other side to do the same thing. At least I figured it out, and then it should be easier to do the second time around. Anyways, that's what I was talking about. Adding some extensions onto the frame rail of the subframe. That way I get some 1/2 inch bolts, pull it through. Now I can take the subframe in and out. And then worst case scenario, if I really wanted to, when it goes up in the car, I can put a couple tack welds up on the inside here and then cut them loose if I ever need to. So yeah, basically how I went, there we go. Basically how I went about it was, where side is it? Get that. There we go. I measured. Just kind of eyeballed the measurement on where I want the location for the bolts, the through bolts to go through. So I measured an inch in the back, inch and a half back from the forward face here, the Subframe connector, and then I kind of eyeballed it. It looked like it'd be about 4.5 here, so I went to 3 inches. So I did 3 inches back, so inch and a half, 3 inches. Marked it here with my carpenter square on both pieces, as you can see, there and there. Then what I did was I clamped them together off the table, drilled them through. Let me go this way. Drilled it through these 2 pieces with a 1/8 inch drill bit. Then clamped it back up using my marks on this. Then used a 1/2 inch step bit for the go through one side. Flipped it over, went through the other side, and that way you can maintain concentricity on the hole. So when you drill a hole through, say like an 1/8 inch bit pilot, this tip here will stay centered on where you drilled it. Trick I figured out 20 some years ago. But since my calibrated eyeball for making sure the drill is level with the part, the holes were off just a little bit. I'm a little out of practice because I just don't do this type of work anymore. When I was building aircraft every day, I eyeballed and be dead nuts on every time. So anyways, I got a 1/2 inch bit here, and I just kind of reamed the holes out a little bit, and the bolts fell right through. All right, time to put it back up in the car. Or actually, no, not put it back up in the car. On here, I'm going to lay out like probably 1, 2 holes here, and probably 1, 2, 3 holes over here for weld, for some plug welds. I'll probably do like 1/2 inch or 5/8 of an inch, whatever it's the one I got. So I'll lay out these 2 here, 3 over there, drill them through, put it back up in the car, clamp it back together, and then weld on those extensions. That'll be coming up next. Alright, now that I'm under the car, let's see how it looks like with it in place. There you go. That's what I was trying to achieve. Nice and tight up in the back there, falls along, and bam. That's what I mean by, like, if I wanted to, I can weld up and so you can see. There we go. If I want to, I could put some weld still up inside there and weld that all in. But like I said, I think this would be plenty to keep everything all nice and tied in. But since I'm also putting these in, I go one a little bit on the extreme side. I know the car is kind of level from using my carpenter's level, putting it up. So let's zero this guy out real quick on a flat spot. 0, and Subframe connector was a couple of flats. There we go, that's off a little bit. Check it on here. Close enough. There we go. Let's see. Shows up, yep. It's pretty level within the car. Check on the front subframe or on here. Probably be weird because that's a bent. Yeah, it's within a degree or so. And yeah, within a degree or so of the subframe itself. So cool. Alright, I'm gonna bring up my MIG welder. Put a couple tacks along here. Fill that guy in there. And the same thing on the back side. And then take this guy, unbolt it. Take this guy out, clean up the edges. We're painting around here. And then put it back in and start tacking away. Alright gang, another day, and I got the rest of the subframe connector welded in. Alright, let's turn the light on and take a quick look. Ooh, I even painted it. Put some of the steel on there just to cover it up because it seems to be rust pretty quick. That's what it looks like from the top side. Welds aren't pretty because, well, trying to weld 1/8 inch metal to 20 gauge metal doesn't work too well. You need quite a bit of heat to get it to penetrate into the subframe connector itself, and it's just a lot of tacks, and yeah, it's a lot of crap. Plus also I ran out of welding gas, which wasn't a bad thing. I was able to get it for the holiday weekend. Alright, let's go underneath. Same deal. Subframe connector, and there you go. Alright. I think I'm just gonna put you all on a time lapse as I cut out the other side and just get to working on that. I'll stop though, because since I forgot to hit the record button when I did the layout for the through bolts. I'll stop, explain that, show that. Hopefully I'll remember to hit record, and it records. Alright, enjoy the time lapse coming up. I don't know how long it's going to be. Alright, let's get to work. Alright, so here's what I did. You saw me before the shit in the car for the extensions and where to bolt through and all that stuff's going to go. But how I figure out the holes to go through here, from the face of the subframe connector for where the little plate gets welded on, inch back, and then from here, inch and a half back. So it ends up being, how far apart are they? Let's just measure real quick. 2 3/8 inch apart. If I really want to, I could probably fit a third one there if I did spacing a little bit different, but 2 bolts should be enough. Because I mean, it'll stop it from this direction, and yeah, it'll stop it from this direction because you got 2 bolts. Really, I should probably weld a slug in there, like an inch tubing with a 1/2 inch, with a 1/4 inch wall with a 1/2 inch through bolt. Probably should have done that, but I think it's a little bit too much, a little bit overkill for what I am trying to do. Anyways, so put a mark on these guys, drew a line straight across to get them on the both, on the outboard or the inboard and the outboard. I guess I call them extensions to the front subframe, so that way I can do the through holes. The other thing is I line each one up the edges here, the plates you get welded on from Detroit Speed, so that way I have a reference point there to know where they go in fore and aft, and for in Z I can actually, they're flat to the table. That's that simple, and I can, looks pretty even across the top. So anyways, got that done. Loosen this bad boy up. Probably gonna fall. And believe it or not, these lines are extremely important before we go back to line it up. So here, what you can do is, these are a 2-inch wide strap. Yeah, 2 inch. Take my marker. Put it in here. Actually, I screwed that one up. Probably part of the problem. I used to wear gloves when I mark stuff out. There we go. Oh. And then the blue marks on top here. One line. There we go. That's how I got those guys. And what I'm going to do is flip it around. So we got the 2 blue marks there. Now I'm going to line those up to themselves, and the reason why, a little bit different on each side for width. Take my clamp. Line up the blue marks that I made on the top there. You know, this is over top of the slot in the workbench here. Make sure they're even with each other and give a good clamp. Alright, time to grab my drill with an 1/8 inch bit. back up. Now it sits in there like this. And this is the inboard one. Outboard one. Line up to our blue marks again. Pretty about where it should have been. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to tap it back into place. Looks pretty straight, level, a lot of fun stuff. It's kind of important because we got to drill these through holes. One of them lined up exactly the same on the other side. So first off, got that there. Should have set my second clamp. Now we got that done, I'll flip it back over. Take that cleco out, put in this one. While leaving the clamp on it. Alright. What it does, I know I said before, something about maintaining concentricity. It does for the hole, but also mean using a step bit, the 1/8 inch pilot hole I drilled maintains it also on center. That's what I really meant. A little bit of WD-40 for some lube, because lube's always good. Have at it. Looks lined up. Alright, that fucker's hot. Sorry, sucker. Said sucker, not fucker. There you go. And that's how I lined them up like that to make sure they actually stayed. It's easy to line up through. It's a little bit of work. Having a drill press probably would have made it a hell of a lot easier, but in due time I'll get one. I actually need to get drill press, belt sander, this big 12-inch like this sander too. Lift, 60 by 40 garage would be nice. Let's heat it, cool. One can wish. Alright, so the rest of it now is basically going to be, I'm going to drill a couple holes through here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That way I have the plug welds to go to the subframe. And then get that, bolt that up in the car, bolt the rest of that in there. You guys saw that already on my, on the previous section of this. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the time lapse. It's like this is saying done. Any questions about how I did this, please drop them in the comments below. Alright, time lapse. Alright, many hours later, finally got it done. Let's go take a look at it. Hopefully this video's not too long. Anyway, let's go and see the final sippy, tacks, cutting, trimming, fitting, all that horse shit. Alright, there you go. You made a little patch to go in there to fill up the hole. This shit's pretty solid. So that's what it looks like from the inside. A couple things was I had to trim up around in here on the subframe connector. Make that notch a little bit bigger here, and same thing with on the other side to make it slide up against here. It was pretty close, within 1/8 of an inch, so I had to walk it back and forth. A welder, I am not. Tacker, I can do. So there's the top side, there's the other side done, and let's go underneath. Oh, yep, it's right up. And there's the 2 bolts right there, They fall out pretty easily. Couple tacks there. Like I said before, when I blew the car apart to paint the bottom of the car and the subframe connector, or the subframe to get powder coated or paint it or blast it, whatever. We shall see what I do with it. I'll probably TIG weld this all the way around and across the inside, and then trim those 2 little tabs off at some point. There we go. And then up top here, I don't know how the hell I'm going to weld up in there. So I'll probably wait till it gets back on the rotisserie again. Take the tip of the nozzle, or take the nozzle off, and maybe put some kind of, like, I don't know, crap, some insulator up there so I can put the nozzle up in there, just a thin tip, without the big welding gun, without the nozzle, and to get the tip down in there so I can run the bead up top there. Thinking that's what I'm gonna do. Said I'm not a really good welder. You got 20 gauge sheet metal or 18 gauge sheet metal to 1/8 inch, which this is like 040 to 0.125 thick metal, so that's kind of a pain. There you go. And that had to fix something on the other side, which is not a big deal. So yep, that's the good end of this video. I know it's been a while, it's been a month and a half, not a month and a half, 3.5 months or something like that since I ever last did one of these things. So I'm a little practice with talking to the camera and all that stuff. Alright, thanks for watching, appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. For all people who have been waiting for this, thanks for waiting for a while. I know it's been nice just kind of chilling. So alright, till next time. Thanks guys.